This case is about Amma. Amma is a juvenile. It was a case where there was a kind of confrontation between Amma and then the deceased, and in trying to defend herself, she grabbed a stick and then threw it back, and this person died.
When they arrest me, I told them I'm 16 years, and they put me in their cells because they said my case, they can't leave me to go home. When I was there, they brought some people there, some prostitutes. You don't even sleep on a bed, you sleep on the ground. So I was at the police cells for 3 months, 2 weeks.
When the case was assigned to me, I went and I made an application for her to be taken out of the adult cell. You know, they are children, and when they go to adult prisons, they begin to learn some bad habits. She was sent to a girls' remand home, and after a while, the case had been there for about 11 months. So I had to go back to the court to make an application for a discharge after the courts violated the law, which says that she's supposed to have been tried within 6 months.
And the legal aid scheme in Ghana provides legal assistance to persons who cannot afford legal services. And most of the time, children in particular are the ones who are the vulnerable ones. It requires lawyers to do juvenile justice. We have all the lawyers together in legal aid scheme. We have 21 across the country. So it becomes a real problem providing the service to all the children who need and deserve it.
Children spend way too much time in detention. They linger in there for far too long. And the justice system just isn't catered for children, it's catered for adults. It doesn't look at the needs or the rights of children.
So there was a need for us to have a different outlook to ensure that these children who get in trouble or who have to interface with our formal judicial system, we hold their hand in a certain way. We didn't want a situation where children will go through this formal judicial system and come out broken. And so we're really very excited about the Justice for Children policy. We are grateful to UNICEF for supporting the whole process we started in 2010. And I'm happy that today has arrived and we are launching our policy. This policy has an objective. The main objective is to create a framework for the agencies and departments and other stakeholders. We train them to make sure that we have child-friendly procedures.
So the police is the first point of contact in the justice system. So the police play a key role in the implementation of this kind of policy. Standard operating procedures have been developed with inputs from the police service. For instance, taking a statement from a child, the SOP states that where it's possible, a parent or somebody must be present. In the absence of that, you have to have a probation officer or an officer from the Department of Social Welfare. So these are the kind of things that are in the SOP.
We assembled here since last Monday. When we are done with this training, we will have about 42 trainers that will go back to their various unis and training schools to teach this concept. In one of the typical role play exercise, I handled the participants in the best form of interviewing children in conflict with the law. Indeed, there was this 12-year-old boy called Godwin who came in conflict with the law, and the way a typical police female investigator handled him was not the best.
Yeah, you deserve beatings really. After doing this, and you think your father shouldn't beat you. Anyway,
they handcuff me. They always interact when I'm being asked questions.
Why?
My father used to beat her all days.
Yes, I said it. Genetically, there's crime running through their family.
And then participants were made to discuss the do's and the don'ts of an ideal police person.
The investigator attacked the self-esteem of the offender. It was more of interrogation than an interview.
It was a complete interrogation. We've drawn a distinction between interrogation and interview. And we saw the opposite.
What I also saw was that the language of the investigator was too much for the child
To understand.
Yes. And then
I'm very passionate about how to handle children. So if I go back to my units, I'll take it upon myself to educate them.
What has been demonstrated in the classroom so far is very encouraging. If the participants are going to take up the same attitude and continue out there, I think we've already achieved some success with this initiative.
Looking at issues of children differently, not like we have done generally. Thank you.
Thank you.
One of the beautiful things about the policy is that it actually looks at the informal system as well and recognizes that there are strengths there that we can build upon. The chieftaincy system, chiefs and queen mothers.
Now, if a child misbehaves in the community, we send for the parents, both parents. So that is by dialogue, we ask Mr. A and Mr. and Mrs. A, whose child has injured someone, we cater for the child. And there will not be any conflict between family A or parent A and parents B.
So the Justice for Children policy is going to lean on these existing recognized structures to help in some of the minor offenses that can be addressed out of the court system, but of course, to some extent supervised by the court system. So this Justice for Children policy is also very strong on prevention mechanisms and strategies.
And so when they report to social welfare, we go into the community and we try to help this child. We use the schools, the teachers in schools, we use community leaders. We make some of them probation agents. These people supervise these children for us and they report to us because we are not with the children 24/7.
So no child is born a criminal and no child comes to the world knowing everything they need to know.
Most of these children who come into conflict with the law come from family backgrounds that are poor and neglect their children.
We have hundreds and thousands of cases where parents are not catering for their children. So now government is creating this child support unit, and it will be easier for parents to demand for maintenance or child support from the other parent who is being negligent. That is why we are saying that the Justice for Children policy is broader than just juvenile justice.
What we really need are parents, adults in general, and community leaders to be able to guide and support children and make sure that they stay on the right path. And of course, we need government and her partners to be able to help make sure that the capacity is there for this.
9, 10.
There is no school for training a chief. We want to learn more. We, the leaders here now, must be trained. That will be that sort of collaboration between the security, the social welfare, and the chiefs. They must learn something from them. And they also learn something from them so that we can all collaborate and then do the work successfully.
Thank you. We hope there will be strong collaboration here.
One of the most positive things about this child justice policy is that it is the collective expression of the vision of all stakeholders that we want a justice system that limits the deprivation of liberty, a justice system that progressively integrates the rights of children.
Anytime a child is arrested, legal aid should be available. So the collaboration between legal aid, the police and the courts has to be there.
Now, from Ame's case, if she had been put through the right institutions from the very beginning, at least she would have had some kind of reformation.
At first I was angry, but when I went to the girls' remand home, and I realized that it's because God wants me to change my life. I don't want the children that are coming should pass through what I have passed.